Mark and Joey here, and we're continuing with our NFL camp recap and projections for each team. We're in the Green Bay division, Chicago division. We've already done those shows today. We're going to pick up the other two teams here. I think the other two teams are we're going to have a conversation, but they just don't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think Minnesota, kind of depends on how well, other teams function. I don't really feel like them themselves is going to decide their own destiny. I feel like, they're going to have to get lucky with teams underperforming. Teams like, second best teams in divisions really is what I'm getting at. You got Seattle and the Rams. Well, we think one of them's going to take a wild card spot. Well, then you got Dallas and Philly. One of them might take a wild card spot. Then you got Chicago and Green Bay in your own division. And I think Green Bay is improving and better than Minnesota, quite frankly. So I see Minnesota missing the playoffs. I think they are wasting money with Kirk Cousins.
Well, they also wasted kind of the attitude of the team after such a great season and going dismantle your quarterback. I mean, it made no sense.
I think it was weird. I think they should have kept the quarterback. Only, even though, talent-wise, I actually feel like they're the same. I've never understood.
Kirk Cousins done?
I've never understood the hype.
The kind of money.
And ultimately, Case Keenum had become part of that city with the Minnesota Miracle, almost going to the Super Bowl. I didn't understand it. He would have been way less money. So the way I look at it this year is, first of all, if they ever want a chance, I'll play, let's say they do give themselves a chance. He can't get sacked a ton. He gets sacked so often. I don't care how much I dislike him. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. He gets sacked a lot. And that's a bad thing. He can't get sacked more than 30 times. It's got to be around at most 20 times, guys. I mean, come on. And he's got to be smart with the ball, too, to go with that. So, a couple of things there. The offensive line needs to improve. He throws a low ball. He actually has the highest tip rate in the NFL, which is a bad sign for an offensive line that's not that great and gives up a lot of sacks to begin with.
That's a great point. I forget which team it was talking about that.
They just went like this the whole time.
In the week going in to play them, about, they did a tip drill all week long of the offensive lineman tipping and the defensive backs coming in and grabbing that ball. So you're right about that. It's an interesting point.
So there's number one. So number one is the offensive line needs to come up and have a fantastic year. Yeah. Arguably, funny enough, probably the most important part of this team, because in order for Kirk Cousins' style to work, he needs time and he needs to be able to trot back and be able to throw because he throws the low ball. Now, also, he can't get sacked. It's always bad for any quarterback, but especially for him. I don't like him on the run. He's not very good on the run. And really, when it comes down to it, that's really the key for their season, is this offensive line. Because what also does the offensive line do? Well, they open up the running game. And the running game is also important in Minnesota. When they were really good, they had a good two-headed monster back there in the backfield. I think they could easily have it again this year. But some question marks again with the running backs, the health, and then obviously the offensive line, like I've already said, with the quarterback. Right. Now, on paper, very, very talented. Great receivers.
Great defense.
Great defense, although
they failed last year.
Not very good last year. A lot of injuries again. So another team that kind of depends on health and a lot of things going their way this year.
They need some rest. I mean, they were just worn out as far as I'm concerned. The Minnesota offense was so bad that they were always on the field. Definitely. And this took a great defense and wore them down in my mind. And one thing on defense, when you're getting worn down, injuries happen. That's when they all happen, when you're making tackles, when you're cutting, things like that, and you're just tired. And I think that's what happened in Minnesota last year. Now, I will give them a break. That is a great defense. If they can play at the level they did 2 years ago, and that was part of what helped Keenum as well. If they can play at that level, Minnesota wins more games. So they're still not going to be a top team, but they win more games with that defense.
I agree there, and I agree though. It's weird to think a team off the cuff has no chance of making the playoffs, and yet if two things go their way, they can easily be a strong playoff team. And that's the Minnesota team. And that's really the gist of it. They're great on paper. And they really need a couple things to go their way. They need the defense to play better, which starts with the offense. They need the offense to play better. They only need their offensive line to give them help because the receivers are fantastic. Kirk Cousins, even though I don't believe the hype, has enough talent to really get this done, can put up a ton of yards. They got good running backs. They got all the formulas. They really just need to work in their favor. And they can easily upset the whole division.
If they play at very top of their game.
To not maybe take down Chicago, but to definitely be a strong wild card team. And once getting in the playoffs, you never know. So and they play in that division. So they're used to playing in Chicago, used to playing in Green Bay. So they're that type of team that could easily surprise us this year, make the playoffs, make a run.
But they are a dome team, which I think makes it hard to play in that division.
Now they are.
It's nice to play in a dome, but then you got to go outside and play those frigid temperatures. So we'll see what happens there. But
Detroit's in a dome.
I'm thinking 8-8 season. I think that they're that kind of club. But 8-8s can, as we can tell from other teams over other years, easily become a 10-6 team. Make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's only a couple things going your way during the season that are to differentiate between 8 and 8.
You gotta remember, they barely missed the playoffs this year.
12,
they barely missed the playoffs this year.
Yeah, they could have made it.
I just think I'm putting my faith this year. I'm putting my dollar bills
on Chicago
and Green Bay.
Yeah.
Because Chicago doesn't matter. In my mind, they're just the best team in the division.
Yeah.
But the teams that are battling for the wild card spot, it's going to come down to, they both got to beat Detroit, and then who wins maybe this matchup? Can one of Green Bay or Minnesota go 2-0 against their opponent?
Right.
So really, if I'm looking at Minnesota making playoffs, they have to beat Green Bay twice, and I'm not feeling that. I'm really feeling
Green Bay will win at home for sure.
Yeah. So I'm thinking they got no shot. I'm gonna go 7-9, 6-10. And I like Green Bay really to be the second best team in this division and possibly a wildcard team over them.
As we're saying, they're a swing team. Like you go from 6-10 to 10-6, right?
They're such a swing team.
But I agree with you 100%. We don't know what a second year for Kirk Cousins will mean.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's getting paid a shit ton of money. So someone spent the offseason with him saying, "Hey, Kirk, come on, man. Like you got to be better." So we'll see how he's able to step up. But they're a bit of a mystery team.
Tough division, though. You could easily have 4 losses in your own division with Chicago and Green Bay. You definitely have 3 as far, because I say Chicago's in their home and in Minnesota's home. And Green Bay definitely at Lambeau.
Yeah.
So there's 3 losses as far as I'm concerned already. Detroit is such a mistake.
We're going to go there.
Like,
so
we'll go there. But so I'm just seeing like 3, potentially already 4 losses in their own division. And then whatever they got to travel to, it's a tough road for Minnesota. If Green Bay is what I think they are, you're right. They can easily be a swing team and be 10-6. Part of that will be beating Green Bay twice, maybe beating Chicago at home, which I think will be tough, but it could be done in Minnesota. Obviously, great crowds there. So it'll be, I think, here's actually what I do know. If they make the playoffs, out of 8 games at home, they won 7.
Yeah.
That's the only way. That's the only way. And in that dome with that crowd, that's the only way. So that's what my take on Minnesota. They got the talent on the paper. Can they make it work? And can they really have a great home record like the Saints, like all these top teams do? And that, in my mind, that's the only way they can really get to the playoffs, because they need to beat tough teams at home. It's the only way to get done.
These dome stadiums lend to the fans.
They're loud.
The sound is kept inside. It lends to fans being loud, and they have great fans in Minnesota. So you never know what can happen there. But we've got them on the borderline,
7-9, 6-10, missing the playoffs, third in this
could
division.
Surprise you. Never know. A little bit more of a question mark. Almost like Philly was on our other divisional as we looked at them. Lots got to do with the quarterback.
Well, even Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay, again, actually has less talent on paper. I actually would like at least. But because of Aaron Rodgers and what I think they're actually trying to do here, which is get rid of egos, these 2 teams are total flip a coin. Yeah. So I'm real excited for this division. This season's going to be fun. Chicago's our top guy for sure. But Green Bay and Minnesota, I have Green Bay 10-6. That makes these guys 7-9, 6-10.
Yeah.
Easily flip-flop. So going to be an exciting year for you fans out there in the cold climates. But you're going to need a big home record, so go for it, Minnesota. You're going to need it.
All right, well, that's it. Then we got one more team to do in this division, Detroit. And we'll be back to do that for you right now.